Hello and welcome to Deep Cuts the Game, a movie trivia podcast where I give my three contestants three films and they try to give me their most random, obscure, or minor actors from those films. The deeper the cut, the more points they get. I'm your host, Jeff Penn, and with me as always, which is seeming like a long time at this point. Like, I know it's only 9 episodes, but it's like always, it really feels like that Meatloaf song where it's like, we've gone too far, Alex. But with me as always, Alex Young.
Which Meatloaf song, man?
2 out of 3 ain't bad, maybe?
That's a great song.
It's a great song, but like, isn't that the one where it's like,
I want you, I need you, but I'm never gonna love you.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah.
Thanks, Jeff. I guess that's really a hurtful
I need
opening.
you, yeah. But yeah. How's it going?
It was better a minute ago.
Sorry for breaking your heart.
And it was like, so you had such a good intro in this one until you just went off on a tangent about how you'll never love me. I'm good, Jeff. I'm good. I'm working on playlists for a road trip. Because as you know,
because you're taking your big trip out to Fort Francis or something?
Fort Francis. Yeah. My in-laws are in Ontario. It's an 18-hour drive away. We can be in North Florida in the same amount of time. Mm-hmm. And my partner's never like, yeah, let's do Florida instead. It's always like, I want to see my parents. Anyway, we'll cut that out of the edit so I don't get in trouble. But it got me thinking of like compilations, playlists, whatever. What, off the top of your head, are like your favorite soundtracks? Like, what are soundtracks from movies that really stuck with you? Because for me, I stole my dad's copy of the Reservoir Dogs soundtrack as a kid.
I was going to say that, yeah.
And recently, because I only saw it in the last couple of years, but The Big Chill has an incredible soundtrack. Last Night in Soho and Atomic Blonde I have on vinyl, and I play it usually once a week because it's just 80s bangers top to bottom.
Okay, so I was gonna say, like, I literally just bought The Big Chill on vinyl at like a flea market last weekend for like $4, so that was perfect. As a kid of the 80s and like the 90s, I would say like movie soundtracks were the best because that was the place where you got all the music from all the artists on one CD. So for me, it was like, yeah, it was Reservoir Dogs, but then it was like Dazed and Confused and Clueless, which had a great soundtrack, and it was a great place to get like everything from like Cracker to like Radiohead and what's the ska band, Mighty Boss Tones. Yeah. So yeah, when I was like 17, the Mighty Boss Tones were huge. So it was a great place to get their best song and not have to like listen to the other 9 songs you didn't really care about.
You know what I just watched that is a great movie but has an unhinged soundtrack is Can't Hardly Wait. The movie's awesome, but it's got Barry Manilow and 2 Smash Mouth songs that are both played twice. What an eclectic mix.
Did they perform them live, or is it just played?
No, you're thinking of Rat Race.
That's true. Well, Alex, we've got a really exciting show with us today. We had a show yesterday that kind of, it still happened. You're still going to get to hear it. But we were expecting a special guest who is with us today. But I'm going to introduce our other guest first. It's her first time playing. She wrote her own little intro to which she was like, maybe like kind of give the PG version of it. But no, I'm just going to...
Is there an X-rated version of it?
I mean, it's maybe AA. But okay. So our first guest today is a first-time podcast attendee, otherwise podcast virgin, who enjoys playing video games and watching sports in her spare time. She works as a production manager for TSN on-air promotions, and some of her favorite films include The Princess Bride, Remember the Titans, and Anchorman. Welcome to the show, Jess Taylor.
Hello, guys. Thank you.
Hey, Jess. How are you?
Good. I was playing around with that initial part of the intro. I'm like, well, how offside can I go? I didn't know. So first time being on a podcast, this is great. So if you've
listened to any of the other episodes, we go a little bit offside. But I mean, we can always cut it out later. Like I always let everyone know that if you said something, I'll take it out later.
Well, I mean, I heard Ashley talking about diddling, so I think I'm okay.
That did happen.
Yeah.
Fine.
That was perfect.
Fine.
How are you doing, Jess?
I'm good, thank you, Jeff. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for being here today.
Happy to be here. Happy to play. I'm looking forward to making the other 2 guests look better because I don't know how good I'm going to be, but I'm just happy to be here.
Well, you know how the game's played, so that's a start.
I do.
So why don't we bring in our special guest today? I've got a long write-up for here, and he can tell me if I've messed anything up. So you might know our next guest from his work over the past 15 years on the Toronto radio scene. His voice work as Ripper on Total Drama Island, as well as his smash hit comic, Dead Romans from Image Comics, of which I think I bought the last hardcover copy of it. He then mocked me online because that then triggered a second printing of it. And I was like, oh, I think that's because of me. And he's like, yeah, sure it was. It was all you. And then, but mostly, not mostly, but one of the things I'm excited about having him on for is his incredible audio drama, Mud 79, a fan-made Star Wars story that is honestly so good that I'm plowing about 2 episodes a night, even though they're like 50 minutes long and like super in depth. Welcome to the show, Fearless Fred Kennedy.
I never made fun of you, man.
Sorry, I have very thin skin, so even if you were joking with me, I take it to heart.
I know. I probably said like you were the one. You put us over because it's funny you sent that, and then that was the day that we got the message from Jim Valentino saying they're doing a second printing right now. Good work, everybody. And we're like, yay! So thank you.
And I haven't got mine yet. I ordered it at my local, and I went in last week. They didn't have it yet, so hopefully it'll be there today when I go to pick it up.
Oh, it's coming. Don't worry. And I think because you got the first printing, those ones were made in Canada too. So.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to support local if you can.
Yeah, double local.
It is really good.
Thank
I
you.
read them as single issues when it came out, man. That's really solid. And the art is incredible.
Yeah, I know. I was messaging I got some pencils I can show you on the stream if you want to see them after for volume 2.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, you know what I was going to ask you? I'm like, is there going to be a sequel to this?
There is.
I
Yeah.
don't want to spoil it for Jeff, but like, it seems like there could be.
The frustrating issue is right now Nick is like, he's really good, and he's gotten a lot of cover work, and it's sort of like getting in the way of us getting to volume 2. So we're kind of at the point now where it's like, clear the table. This has got to go. Let's focus on volume 2 right now. So, but that's just awesome. The game, you know. That's how it always works. Everyone loves the artists, man.
Totally. Yes.
Fred, can I ask you a question about Mud 79?
Yeah.
So I'm about 12 episodes in right now. And I think you've got 32, 33 episodes total?
Yeah, 32.
Does it continue on from there? Like, I'm just kind of
after 32?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Well,
okay.
It's written. It's just
okay.
The production element is a beast. Like it's like a full cinematic mix, and I'm super weird about it, and I don't want anyone to touch it because the premise is that I only started working on it at the beginning of COVID when a bunch of comic work imploded, and I was like, you go through those like I'm persecuted by everybody mental states, and I thought like all the artists that I was working with that still had work coming in that weren't working with me anymore. I was like, I don't want to work with anyone on anything anymore. I want to do this so that I can control everything on my own. And so then that's how it all began. And now I'm at the point where I don't have enough time to do the production aspect of it. It's all ready to go. It's all plotted. And I would wager that within the next few months, I'll actually get the production started. But it does have a very finite ending. Like I knew the ending when I began at the very beginning because I love clones, man. I love the clones in Star Wars. And what's weird too is I am pretty sure, and it's not me that says this, is our producer, Dila Velasquez, the harpy that I mentioned repeatedly in the intro. Yes. She goes, she's convinced that there are people in the Star Wars writing room that are listening to it because it started coming out like 4 years ago, and there have been Star Wars things that have happened in the last 4 years that are almost identical to things that have happened in that radio play. And I can show you the production poster we had for it. We had the third like cover shot of Mud 79 is framed and identical to the Obi-Wan Kenobi poster for the Disney Plus series. And the guy who did the artwork for that poster works on the same floor in the Disney building as the guy who did the poster. But yeah, we can't really. There's nothing you can do. But I'll argue it to you. I will.
Well, there's also part of me like I've got an idea for a story, and there's part of me that was like I would love to do it, but then there's also the other part of me that's like I just want to see it done. Like I almost don't care who does it. Like just make it happen.
The thing is like I really, and then I got, kind of forlorn and a bit woe is me when I talk about it in the intro is like, I want to write a Star Wars story. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Will I ever get the opportunity? Will some magical hand reach down from the sky and go, you get to do it now? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. All right. First of all, there's the poster for Mud 79. Okay. I'm showing a picture on my phone. And then there's the Obi-Wan Kenobi picture.
Oh wow, yeah, like
Very similar.
yeah. I mean,
Very
it's just
similar.
it's just mirror image, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like just
you can
flipped,
put them
so.
side by side, and the framing is the same. But anyways, I don't know if anyone at Disney will ever say you get to write a Star Wars story. I don't know if that'll ever happen. And I had this story, and I didn't want to like have it just sit in me and make me angry and surly and mad and be like, well, I've got a better Star Wars story than this show, because that's like all anybody on the internet seems to do anymore. So it's like, I'll just get it out. And I have found that since getting it out, I'm just way less judgmental about Star Wars stuff, and I don't complain as much. It's like, whatever, I can do my own thing. I've got my own little playground that I can play on over here, a giant violent mud ball, and I can just do whatever I want to do there. But I find that the themes that are presented in Mud are very similar to the current themes that are going on, especially like with the Bad Batch. I don't know if you guys watched season 3 and season 2 of the Bad Batch.
All of it.
Yes.
Season 3 got so great.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like the way the clones are viewed. We were doing that in 2020, and geez, makes me so mad. Anyways, let's go on. Yeah.
Well, and I was going to say the sorry, go ahead, Alex.
Oh, no. I just want to say to the one, I'm so good because we're on Bad Batch and nobody ever talks about it. I'm so excited they brought back Ventress. I want to know why, because I read Dark Disciple where it like seems really clear that she's dead. But anyway, if they're going to explain it, I'm on board. But I really relate to what you're saying, Fred, about, will anybody ask me to write Star Wars officially? Because we did, I want to say 2018 or 2019, they ran the Star Wars Fan Film Awards.
Yeah.
And my buddy and I submitted, and we were the only Canadian finalists that made it through to the final round. And we were like so convinced that like we were going to win. And this was like the start of our career at Lucasfilm. We did not even place.
Yeah.
Like, I think we came in like 19th to 20.
They got to do those things, man. And it's funny you bring up the fan film thing. There's a group of people out west. They do this thing called Troops, and it's like not Troops. It's like a Stormtrooper like miniseries that they've done, a fan-made miniseries. And I find it weird how the Star Wars fandom can get pretty siloed in on itself. And like, there's a lot of, oh, you're making a fan thing? Well, then I can't support your fan thing. And did you find that? Because I found it really shocking that there was a lack of intercommunication. Because I said, oh, I'm doing an audio drama. And it was like, oh, that's nice. And it's like, should we not all be like promoting each other, man?
You would think.
You
and
would.
As much as I love Star Wars, it's my favorite thing. I have a Star Wars tattoo. Like, it's the best. We have the worst fan base.
Oh,
like across the board. They do not let in anyone. There's so much gatekeeping. It really bums me out all the time. But it sucks because it's like such an inclusive galaxy.
Yep.
That it baffles me that the fan base is 100% the opposite of that.
Because I was trying to get like some word of mouth about it, and I reached out to every Star Wars, and there's a gazillion of them, podcast that I could, and I was really surprised that the Cantina cast, which is one of the bigger Star Wars casts out there, they reached out right away. And of all of the Star Wars fandom things that I found that the Cantina cast is by far the most positive. Like, it's all positive, bring everybody in, bring everybody to the table all the time. That's like the through line of the entire podcast experience with those guys. And they have made it clear to me about the fandom menace, as they refer to it as. And it's just, it's the perfect term. It's so much surliness out there. And I was like, I felt so silly for like the fandom menace. And they're like, you never heard that term before? I'm like, no, but it's incredibly accurate, isn't it?
It is. Like last year for Christmas, a friend of mine got me just a t-shirt that says, "Be nicer to Kelly Marie Tran, you jags."
Yeah.
And they sold out on Super Yaki because, yeah, guys, come on.
Yeah. And if I could get a shirt for the writer's room at Star Wars, it'd be nicer to John Boyega. That's what my shirt would say. There's a guy who got done dirty. Let's move on, though. We're going to fall into a wormhole here.
This could be its whole other podcast. Is just complaining about everyone who's bad.
Jess has got the Star Wars shirt on, and she's not weighing in here, man.
Yeah, I can see her face. She's like, What have I stepped
Just
into?
let it out. Let it out. Let it out.
No, you guys are doing a great job. This is actually, I have to admit, this is my husband's shirt. I just wanted to play, but I am a fan. Just you guys have just taken it to another level, but I so appreciate it. I so appreciate it.
Okay, so why don't we jump into the game and get started? So, Fred, what we do usually is we decide who's going first, second, or third. And then we go back 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, back and forth. The way we decide is I usually think of a movie before we start, and then I try to get you guys to guess what movie am I thinking of. And the person who guesses the closest gets to decide if they want to go first, second, or third. Jess, we'll let you choose first. Ladies first. I don't know. It's usually just
we argue it.
We argue a little bit.
Movie that exists with no hints whatsoever.
There's no hints here, Jess. Just any movie you can think of.
Okay. So Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Perfect. It's not it, but good guess, Jess.
I didn't think so. I'm just going obscure here.
Fred,
Big Trouble
what movie
in
am I
Little
thinking
China.
of? Which one was that?
Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, Big Trouble in Little China. All right.
That's a solid guess. We've never had that on the show. Good one.
Alex, what movie am I thinking
The Lost World, Jurassic Park.
Okay,
Get it right on the money.
Nobody got it right. It was the Tom Selleck sports comedy classic, Mr. Baseball.
Of course.
Sure. Of course it was.
But good job.
That was my second guess.
You know what, Jess? I'm going to go with you because his is a realistic film. I don't think we've got any crossover of actors. So, Jess, would you like to go first, second, or third?
So, because I listened to one of the episodes yesterday and I heard that Alex really likes to go third, I'm going to go third.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see. You're a demon.
Good call.
Yeah.
And while I would say Mr. Baseball doesn't have any dinosaurs in it, they are in Japan. So I'm going to say there's like dragons and stuff like that. So I'm going to say Big Trouble in Little China is the second closest. Fred, where would you like to go? First or second?
I'll go second.
All right. Good call. See what happens. Alex, that puts you at the number one spot.
Indeed, it does.
So now what happens is I tell you the three movies. Now, Fred.
Oh, the movie isn't Mr. Baseball?
It's not Mr. Baseball.
I was thinking about Mr. Baseball. Okay, keep going.
Because you're like, okay, Dennis Haysbert. And after that,
bottle of whiskey. Remember, he shows up at the boss's house with a bottle of whiskey.
Thank God it's not. Thank God it's not Mr. Baseball, or else I'd be screwed.
Yeah, no. I've not seen it. I'll be honest. I'm not even 100% sure it's a real movie.
It's real.
It's great. It's great. So yesterday we did it, and I had picked the movie Solo because I was like, to me, that's kind of the closest one to like a Mud 79 kind of feel, like with the stormtroopers and stuff like that. But it's not that one. So today, though, I'm going to give you the 2015 Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens.
Rad. Okay.
So that's one of the movies. The other movie is the 2014 sci-fi action comic book Guardians of the Galaxy. So two very deep casts. And then for third, just in case it's not that deep, but it's a fun little sci-fi movie, the 1997 The Fifth Element. I'll tell you this, guys. There is only one, from what I can see, there's only one actor or actress that crosses over between more than one film. If you guys get it, you get all the points for both movies. And if you get it, you're incredible. Because I'm sure there's some stunt people and some background actors that probably appear in more than one, but I don't think anyone's going to get that. But one real actor appears in more than one of these movies. I'll give you guys a second to think about it. Fred looks like he's already got his deepest cuts. I'm so worried he's going to be giving me some weird Star Wars.
No, dude, no.
Okay,
not gonna.
That I haven't written down. Like I've got a really long sheet of Star Wars people here, and I'm like still worried that you and Alex are going to go like off the page and give.
I'm so glad I'm going first on this one because I feel like Fred's going to pull the deepest cuts you can even imagine from Force Awakens.
You're going to be so disappointed, guys.
Listen, you remember Mr. Baseball, so
yes.
I'm going to make you both look so good. It's not funny. And it's Guardians number 1 or number 2?
Yes, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1.
Got it.
Which I watched again this morning just to refresh myself with it. And I literally teared up a little bit, like when his mom dies.
Spoiler.
I was like,
it's a little, yeah.
I was like, oh my God, this poor kid and his mom, she just died and she's trying to give him a tape. And but okay, so let's get into it. No time limits, but Alex, what's your first cut?
So This is a famous cameo in The Force Awakens, but I'm going to steal it in case anybody else knows about it. Daniel Craig.
Yes. Daniel Craig is just like one of the stormtroopers.
The stormtrooper,
right?
she's like, you will drop your gun. He's like, I'll drop my gun. And then walks out.
Such a long list. Yes. He is one of the more notable cameos for 15 points. So, Fred, just to let you know, we kind of go on a scale of like 1 to 20. So Daniel Craig's worth 15.
That's a solid
Yeah.
snag.
That's
The only good one I have.
Is he the one that Daisy Ridley like talks into letting her go? Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I just said Daisy Ridley.
Somebody's name, guy.
Yeah, I know. Don't anybody say Daisy Ridley. She's not worth a lot of points. Don't worry about it.
I was gonna say, wouldn't she be 1 point?
She's 1 point. I'm so sorry. That's my bad. Fred, you're up.
Simon Pegg.
Oh, very nice. Simon Pegg for 12 points. Is I think he's on the planet, right? Like he's
he's the guy. Portion.
He's selling like
15 portions. Yeah.
Unkar Plunt.
Oh my god. Extra
Yeah.
points for being a giant nerd. Yes, we're down to you at number 3, so you get 2 picks in a row here.
Because it's like a snake draft.
It's like a snake. Yeah, you like
Right?
sports.
I like sports. I get it.
What the hell's a snake draft? Is it like a pint of snakes?
No, you just you pick because you get a double pick. So you're
goes-
starting around. You're ending around. You're starting around.
I could have figured out by context.
You could have. And my actions are probably really good for you too. Anyway. Okay, so I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but I know there's a caveat of a rule that if I can
Just describe her as best you can and tell me something she's been in.
Oh, I got what she's been in. She's
Okay.
Brienne of Tarth in Game of Thrones, and she plays Captain Phasma.
Okay, so Gwendolyn Christie is who you're
Thank
talking
you.
about.
Gwendolyn Christie.
Gwendolyn Christie for 10 points.
Yes.
It's a solid pull.
Thank
Solid.
you.
I like it that no one's even taken anyone who we've seen their face yet. These are all just masked
trying to-
or aliens. Okay, Jess, what else you got?
So, I mean, I will go. Oh my god, Drax. Who plays Drax for Guardians?
You tell us, Jess. That's
I
the
don't
game.
know.
Hold on, we can pick any of the movies?
No, wait.
Yeah, so
Yeah, any
you
movie.
can go from any of the 3 movies. Yes.
Okay.
So
Oh, I know the name off the top. Like, I know his. You know what? Screw it.
okay.
I'm just gonna go Bradley Cooper.
I mean, yeah, okay. Yep.
Oh,
He is in
yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
He is in
Bradley
Guardians of
Cooper
the-
is Rocket.
Thank
For
you.
3 points, Jess.
I'll take it. The fact that I got something that was double digits, I can.
You can rest
be happy.
easy now.
I rest easy. Absolutely.
All right, so Jess with 3 points. Okay, Fred, we're back to you now with the knowledge that you can pick from any.
Luke Perry! Luke
Luke
Perry!
Perry from the Fifth
Yes!
Element
Yes!
as the artist in the opening sequence who draws the picture of the aliens. He's only worth 10 points.
That's fine.
Right,
That's all
it's
I
still a good
got.
pull.
Yeah.
He's the only name I had written for Fifth Element.
Yeah.
All right, Alex. Well, you have 2 picks now.
Well, it's not Luke Perry. I can tell you that. All right, I'm gonna take 2 from Guardians, and I'll tell you one's a shot in the dark, Jeff. Which I know you hate it when I do that. So Nathan Fillion, I know is in Guardians.
Yes, he is. He's in the prison.
He's in the
Nathan
prison.
Fillion, 14 points.
Amazing, great. And this one's a guess, but I'm so confident that he's in it. Does Lloyd Kaufman have a cameo?
Holy shnikey. Lloyd Kaufman, the Toxic Avenger guy,
Yeah.
is also a prisoner. I don't know if you actually ever see his face or if he's just
He must.
in.
But I know James Gunn and his Romeo and Juliet days.
So Lloyd Kaufman is worth 18 points.
Awesome. Oh my god. I'm so
Hey, Alex, we've got a special guest here. Do you mind like taking your foot off the gas a little
No,
bit?
this is the
and just-
first time I've done well in like 8 episodes.
No, this is awesome.
Yeah,
I love
and
it.
that is because you were saying again the episode I listened to yesterday. You were like, "Oh, I've been doing." You had to show up today, eh?
Yeah.
Had to show up.
Fred, we're back to you with your third guess. And we go 6 rounds just so you're trying to gauge what you got left in the tank.
Like Lars von Trier, right? It's not Lars von Trier. What's his face? He was the king in Conan. He's the famous Scandinavian actor. He was in the Ingmar Bergman movie.
He's right.
Yeah.
I always think he's in Road Warrior and he's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about Star Wars Force Awakens,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. She's always the princess to me.
From The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Yes. Max Van Sydow.
Yeah. I knew there was a lot of names. Max Van Sydow.
Max Van Sydow, 10 points.
Why did I say
for Max
Lars
Van-
von Trier? That's funny. But one of my best
Because
friends.
his character name
Yeah.
is Lars Santaka.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's
And
right.
Alex, what was the funny thing you thought he was in?
The Road Warrior. I think he's the helicopter guy in Road Warrior. For years, I thought that was him.
Yeah.
And then you made fun of me for, well, I guess, going on 13 years now. So
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah. Very solid poll. Jessica, you've got your picks, your cuts 3 and 4.
Okay. I'm gonna go. The Drax name is still bothering me, but I'll figure it out. But I'm gonna go.
Don't struggle
Zoe's.
too hard with that one. That's not gonna.
I know I'm not, because I don't think it's worth a lot, but I'm just gonna have to go kind of from the main group anyway, which I'm leaving you guys a lot open here. So, Zoe Sandala, am I saying that right?
Yep. I mean,
Okay.
it's right enough for me. But she's only worth 2 points.
That's fine. I'm on, like, as long as there's no goose eggs here, that's fine.
Okay.
And again, not worth a lot, but I'm just gonna go Adam Driver.
Adam Driver from Star Wars: The Force Awakens as he is 2 points.
Solid.
Jess,
You know
I'm
what, I
rooting for you,
appreciate-
Jess.
Thanks, Fred.
I appreciate just that your attitude is like, I'm just happy to be included.
Yeah.
I
like
am.
that I'm just here. So many people are like, I'm stressing, I get points, but you're like, hey, we're all just hanging out. It's all for
Well,
fun. It's refreshing.
It's all for fun. The fact that I just don't want to get any goose eggs. I'm just trying to make sure I say a name and hoping to be on the board at this rate.
Yep, you're on the board. You're right there at the bottom of the board.
Oh yeah. It's a
You're
long board.
Jess, you're scoring about as well as the Edmonton Oilers are in this.
Hey,
game.
leave them alone, man. Leave them alone. Canada's team,
Shots
baby.
fired.
No, I mean, hey, they went further than the Leafs, so that's
Yes. Fred, we're back to you with
Seth
your
Green
deep cut.
as Howard
Seth
the Duck.
Green and Guardians of the Galaxy. Very nice as Howard the Duck.
Whoa.
I got to go way down. He is 16 points for Seth Green.
That's a
Wow.
great poll. That's a great
Very
poll.
nice. Very
That's
nice.
very good.
Alex, cuts 4 and 5.
Okay, so I go with Guardians. I don't know his name,
Okay.
but in Guardians, he is either Peter Quill's like dad or uncle.
Okay.
And he is the mayor in Slither, another
Wow.
James Gunn
That's a
movie.
good pull. His name is Greg Henry.
Yeah, I never.
I believe
he's
he's his grandfather, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. Greg Henry for 12 points. What
Take
did
it.
I have him down for? Yeah, he's in Hell on Wheels, The Killing, Scandal, and The Following. It's a solid pull, Alex. Well done. You've got your 5th cut.
Back to the Force Awakens is the one I know the best. I will take Greg Grunberg as
Ooh.
Snap Bexley.
Because, yeah, you know when it's a J.J. Abrams film that Greg Grunberg is going to be in that thing for sure.
And as you know, Jeff, I have a collection of signed Star Wars trading cards like a big old nerd, and one of them is a Greg Grunberg.
14 points for Greg Grunberg. That's good. Okay, Fred. We're back to you. I think you need something big to stay in this game.
That's not gonna happen, man. The thing is, like, I can name all like the who they are and what they look
Who
like
they
and
are?
other things that they've been in.
That counts.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
The general
Yeah.
guy who was the skin job in Blade Runner, who opens the very beginning of Blade Runner, and he's being interrogated. And he's the general in
So we're
Fifth Element. You know what I'm talking about, right?
yes. Yeah.
That's
I
where
do.
his
I do.
mother,
I'm just
he gets him all upset. He's being interrogated at the very beginning.
Brian James. Is
Yeah, he just died recently, didn't he?
Yep.
There you
Brian
go.
James from Blade Runner, which I almost did. Blade Runner 2049 is one of the movies.
I really
today.
like that movie, by the way.
I love it,
Great
and
movie.
it's a super deep cast. There would have been a connection to Drax and a bunch of other people, but I was like, I don't have time to watch that movie,
Yeah.
and it's so long and so in depth. Whereas I felt pretty confident with the Fifth Element that I've seen like a dozen times that I could. So yeah, Brian James, 15 points.
a great
In
ball.
the Fifth Element as the guy. I think he gets stuck in like the fridge, doesn't he,
Yeah.
or something like
It's
that?
frozen in the fridge shower machine.
Yeah, very nice.
You
You're
guys
in
aren't
it.
even giving me a chance.
All right, Jess, you've got your last 2 cuts here, 5 and 6.
Oh, last 2? Oh, thank God. No, I'm kidding. I might be mixing up my Star Wars episodes a little bit here, but Andy Serkis, is he Snoke?
He is. Yep, good pull.
In, like,
I had to
one-
go and look it up. I wasn't sure who
Yeah.
who it was. I had to go
But I
look.
couldn't remember if he was in that one or the episode 9.
Solid pull. Andy Serkis for 10 points.
Yes.
So you know
Wonderful.
what you've done, Jess, right there? You've beat Alex's lowest score ever. So you will not be the worst player. And Alex's lowest score ever came with birthday bonuses,
It did.
where he scored 10 extra points because it was the actors' birthdays.
That's right.
Yeah.
I would have loved a birthday bonus this time.
You've got your last cut, Jess.
Okay. It's not gonna be pretty. But I'm just gonna go Bruce Willis from Fifth Element because that's all I have left in my head.
All you
right
got
now.
left. Okay.
All I have. I will take 1 point, even half a point if you have it.
He's 1 point, Jess. We don't go any lower than that.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Solid, good game, Jess. Good cheating. Hey,
I was blanking on Fifth Element. He's all I knew. I knew the chick. I can see the chick, but I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter.
All right, Fred. You've got a chance here.
I know who the Double Dipper is. The Double Dipper is the doctor that reassembles the Fifth Element and the guy who runs the shop where they steal the element on the planet.
Yeah. Do we give him that?
It's the same guy. He runs the shop.
Same guy.
He's
Yeah,
got the bad skin. I think he's Canadian. And I think he appeared in the...
Can you think of anything else he's in?
Isn't he like... He's been in a bunch of stuff recently. I don't know. But I know that's the same guy. I just don't know his name. He's
you know what? I think
he's very rogue-like.
He is... Okay, so the
smart.
actor's name is Chris Fairbank.
Yeah.
Not that anyone would know that. He's from Alien 3.
Yep.
He was recently in Andor.
Yes, he was in fucking Andor. He was the older guy that was working that got really sick and died at his machine, remember? And then he has the stroke. That's when they find out everything's going wrong. Jess, if you haven't seen Andor, I'm sorry. I kind of gave away.
It's on my list, so it's all good. I saw, oh my God, Ahsoka.
Yeah.
I'm just drawing a blank. Yeah, seen that one.
Wow, well done. Because, yeah, he's the one that helps put... in Fifth Element, he puts her back together.
Yeah, he finds one thing. Look at her DNA, and it's bad because you see, like, in the black light, his skin, like, is not very nice.
And then, in Guardians of the Galaxy, he is the broker that they are trying to collect the stone for. He is 20 points from each of those movies.
That's 40 points?
That's 40 points.
Oh, what a steal, Fred. You're never coming back.
Oh, thank God he's going to win. Thank God.
Jeez.
Don't I still have one guess?
That can't be.
You have one guess, Alex, but there's no double dips left, and you need more than 20 points.
No, I think you should subtract some points for me for having not even naming the guy. That's got to be like a 2 point on each penalty. I should lose 4 points for that easy.
Now let's see what Alex. Let's see what Alex does here.
No, you figured it out. I say you get the points.
Alex, what do you got for us?
I've got 2 from Guardians, and in my head, I'm trying to figure out which one I think would be worth more. Who's in it less? You know what? Okay, because he's more obscure, I think he's going to be more points. The guy who says, "What a bunch of a-holes," is Peter something or other.
Sarah
He's
Fenwick.
British. Thank you. Yes.
From The Tick and Shaun of the Dead.
And also the voice of Darth Maul.
Is he the voice of Darth Maul?
Yeah, because Ray Park's voice was too high pitched, so Sarah Fenwick did the dub over. No, we will have our revenge. Yeah, in Phantom Menace, he dubbed.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Wow.
Voice. Yeah.
14 points for him, Alex.
And just for my own brain, John C. Reilly, was he worth less?
John C. Reilly would have been worth less because he is a more notable actor. He would have been 10
I made the
points.
right call. Okay.
Okay, so before I give you your finals, let's just see if there was anything huge that you missed. Jess, the guy you were trying to think of is Dave Bautista.
Batista, thank you. And also, I realized I blanked. I don't know why I just panicked and said Bruce Willis. I could have said, like, Carrie Fisher. I could have said Mark Hamill. Could have said Harrison Ford.
They all would have been worth more
all
than
would have
one.
been better.
Of course. I actually wrote down Mark Hamill, and I ignored my own notes. So that's fine. Yeah. Whatever.
Also from the Guardians, you said John C. Reilly, Alex. Glenn Close has got a small role in it and would have been worth a decent amount of points. Benicio del Toro, Sean Gunn, of course. The kid who plays young Peter Quill is from It, the first chapter. He's Stanley, the Jewish kid that gets freaked out by the painting. Stan Lee, of course, makes a cameo as he was still alive at the time.
Of course he does.
Canadian actor from the TV show Roswell, Brendan Fear, is in it. Nathan Fillion. Alex, I'm surprised you didn't get Alex Denisoff from Angel and Buffy, as he's Thanos' like right-hand man.
Oh, right, of course. Yes. He's like the herald or whatever.
Digimon Husku is going to be one of my picks. But...
Digimon Hansu would have been a good one. Rob Zombie provides a voice as a Ravager. And then, of course, James Gunn shows up in it. And then My favorite one here is Ralph Ineson, who is the dad from the Bitch movie.
Oh, that guy with the deep voice.
The deep voice. He's a Ravager.
He does a voice in Final Fantasy 16, and he's awesome in it.
Yeah, he's one of the pilots at the end trying to save the planet. And then I found something really weird. So there's this actor. I don't know what he did in Guardians of the Galaxy. I think he's just like a Nova Corp. His name is Nick Holmes, and he used to be on like Gilmore Girls and stuff like that. So he must know the guns through Sean Gunn. But he's married to Virginia Madsen.
Really? Of Candyman fame?
Of Candyman fame, and he is 20 years younger than her. So good on Virginia Madsen for,
Listen, no, good on him. Virginia Madsen, she is a star. Yeah, no, she's great.
Star Wars Force Awakens, there's so many, I won't give you them all. But Peter Mayhew and the guy you mentioned yesterday, Alex, Jonas Suotamo, who's the different Wookiees. Billy Lord would have been a nice one. Always say Warwick Davis if you're doing a Star Wars movie. Jessica Henwick from from Iron Fist and from Games of Thrones. My gosh, there's so many. Yeah, you got Daniel Craig. Judah Friedlander from 30 Rock is in it as a bar patron. Yeah, there's so like Ewan McGregor's voice, Alex Guinness's voice. And then as just little throwaways, there's Ben Schwartz and Ed Sheeran play troopers, as well as you get the original Natty Gann, Meredith Salinger, who is married to Patton Oswalt, has a small part in it. You guys did really good on The Fifth Element. Sorry, Alex, what's that?
Who plays Little Ray in Force Awakens? Because
I didn't write it down.
Somebody.
I didn't write it down, so she didn't stand out to me.
Independent.
You guys did. You got most of the big ones off The Fifth Element. Tricky, former hip hop star Tricky, is in it. And then the one movie where it's actually credited at the end is Sheb Woolley for the Wilhelm scream. While I heard it in all the other movies, it was not credited, but you could have gotten Sheb Woolley.
So
the final score.
Mud 79 has the Wilhelm scream in it, by the way.
Oh, does it really?
Episode. Every one.
As it should.
Good. And I also had each season, they said, I got a bad feeling about this at least once. So
perfect. You nailed it.
And the cast members were like arguing over who was going to get to do it.
Get to say it.
Yeah.
Very nice. So final score. Jess, a very respectable 28 points. Alex.
I just want to ask.
Sure.
Can I ask, how much would Mark Hamill have gotten me? Just would it put me over 30? That's all I want to know.
I mean, as compared to, say, your worst picks of Adam Driver and Zoe... No, I'm just...
No, it's those Bruce Willis.
So those were two... No, Mark Hamill wouldn't have... Because he's Mark Hamill.
Okay.
He's Luke Skywalker.
All right.
Yeah, he was also worth two. Carrie Fisher or someone would have done you a little better.
Just want to know. Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
Anthony Daniels, C-3PO, would have been a decent pull.
That would have been a nice pull.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So 28 points for Jess, 87 for Alex.
Is that the best I've done?
That is the best you've done, and that's only 1 point off the former high score by Sam, who had 88, which has now been blown out of the water with 103 by Fred Kennedy.
I had a big save at the back end, though. I came out strong in the third.
You really did. Boy, you stuck the landing on that one, man. Well done.
You breached the hundo.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Yeah, that doesn't happen often. Like to pull a double 20, that's, it's like playing Dungeons and Dragons and like, rolling the 20 and be like, oh my gosh, critical hit or whatever it is.
I use the same dice that I bought in the 7th grade in 1993 at my table. And my D20 is, it's strong. It's a strong dice from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And I rolled 3 20s in a row about a month ago. It was a great day for me because I DM. It was not a good day for the players at all, but I was.
That's a terrible day for the players. Yeah.
It was good.
The only time I roll a 20, I think I've had 4 in like the 4-year campaign that I've been on, and it's always like the worst time where it's like, open the window.
Yeah.
And roll a 20. You're like, you did it, and you like danced inside. And I'm like, great. But in combat or any sort of like looking for traps, whatever, 4s, 5s, garbage.
And it seems to be it's always like against like 1 or 2 players at the table, like guys that have been at the table since like I moved into my neighborhood like in 2011. It's these 3 different guys that tend to just get whooped by my characters all the time. It's great. We play rifts though. We play like this post-apocalyptic interdimensional game called Rifts from Palladium Games. It's pretty rad, man. You should give
That's
it a
cool.
go.
I've never heard of it.
Oh, it's
Never.
yeah. So Palladium is like, they came out in like the 80s, and it's similar. They came out with a fantasy game called Palladium, and then they did the Robotech game, and then they did the Ninja Turtles game, all the licensed ones, and they realized all these players had these characters, but they couldn't play with them together. They even have a superhero game called Heroes Unlimited where you make a superhero, which is the funnest game ever.
I
And
might have played that back when I was a teenager. Yeah.
so they came out with Rifts, where it's this like a planet where there was a nuclear war, and it opened these interdimensional rifts. So all the characters from all the games can come play together. It's the funnest game ever, man.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds wicked.
It is as ridiculous as it sounds.
Alex and I've tried our hands at like hero clicks a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
Like, I just like collecting the figures.
We played a few times, and it was really fun. That like one time we played at your brother-in-law's house, your brother's house, was the best.
Yeah, and I used Star-Lord. And you lost to Star-Lord and Iron Fist.
Yeah.
And you were so angry because Iron Man lost to Star-Lord.
Entirely possible. It can happen. It can happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this was
man.
This was prior to the movies too. So like I wasn't even sure who Star-Lord was at that time.
Did you read Annihilation Wave?
I have not. No.
Nobody's read Annihilation Wave.
Okay.
But it came out at the same time as the Civil War did, and it was like a big Marvel event, but it was just the cosmic characters. And Helios has captured Galactus and weaponized him as like this giant interdimensional Death Star. And it is amazing. It's like one of the most ridiculous Marvel concepts you'll ever see, but nobody's read it. Like, as my buddy who ran the shop, like that I used to go to in Edmonton, Happy Harbor, he always said, he goes, it's the best thing Marvel did that nobody's read.
I mean, I feel like you'd be hard pressed to go up against Civil War.
Yeah. Oh, Civil War was everywhere. Peter Parker was taking off his mask.
Changed the game.
Yeah.
And that pulled me back into comics because I read like a ton of 90s Ghost Rider as a kid because I guess I was a weird kid. But I love 90s
Ghost Rider was cool, man.
Yeah, all that Dan Ketch stuff was the best. And then I kind of fell out of it, read my Midnight Suns and whatever. But then Civil War came around and pulled me back in. Then I got into New Avengers, and that got me back into reading comics for like 20 years.
Yeah. You should give Annihilation Wave. They got some really cool, I forget her name, but she's one of my absolute favorite artists. She's Italian. She did a lot of the Dungeons & Dragons comics in the early 2000s, but this was like her big jump into North American comics, and she does about half of the Annihilation Wave's art, and she draws action so elasticy. She's fantastic. It's great.
I'm adding to the list.
Yep.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Alex, you haven't even read Contest of Champions, my favorite comic from the 80s.
You love Contest of Champions.
I do. I love Contest of Champions.
I have not read Contest of Champions either. I'm going to read that too. There you go.
Okay, yeah. I think it's only like a 4-issue arc kind of thing. And it's the Grandmaster and maybe the Collector. And they literally describe all the superheroes and like force them onto teams of 4 and make them fight kind of thing. But it's so funny because like the superheroes all kind of pretend like they don't know who each other is. Like Wolverine's fighting Black Panther and the thing's like, hey, take it easy. And it's like, you guys should know each other by this point.
Yeah.
Like, you've been around for 40 years. You've crossed paths kind of thing. So, well, this was a very exciting game, guys. Jess, do you have anything you wanna promote for anyone?
For anyone? No,
For anyone?
not really. Again, I want to promote this podcast. Actually, I'm going to be telling everybody about it because it's so much fun. Even though I did terribly at it, but it's really a lot of fun. It makes me want to buff up on my movie knowledge because I want to actually compete a bit better next time.
Well, when you're unemployed and sitting around the house all day, Jess, you've got a lot of time to rewatch all those movies you love.
I've heard.
So, yeah. Alex, how about you? What do you got coming up?
Maybe next week, Jeff. Just driving to my in-laws. This is not anything that I need to promote, but I got a bunch of graphic novels to read once I get there. Apparently,
perfect. So. Fred, you have things to promote.
Yeah, I got a new story coming out in Savage Sword of Conan #4, in the Assassin's Creed Visions book from Massive Publishing that comes out in August. I've got a story in there called Assassin's Creed Powder that I did with Nick. That's sort of like an Assassin's Creed story set in Hong Kong at the very beginning of the Opium Wars.
Nice. Oh, that sounds awesome, and I love it.
Which I think is the greatest potential setting for an Assassin's Creed game ever. You'll see, like, I basically am like writing my love letter to the franchise in that one. And the end of July from Blizzard Entertainment, me and my close friend who's a huge Max von Sydow fan who's going to be mad about this. Adam Gorham and I did a story about Rathma, the first necromancer in Diablo. And so that one I'm pretty stoked to see because Blizzard is like the funnest company to work for. I cannot say enough great things about Blizzard. Our editor, Chloe, was one of the funnest people to ever work with in my entire writing career. She's great.
Oh, it's amazing.
And now you teased something. I'm sure you can't say anything, but you teased something on Twitter the other day that you'd signed a deal with someone.
Oh, I can't say anything about that.
Okay. I was just like, maybe a couple days have
No,
passed.
I was just, like, I felt really good. And I even say I feel like a jerk because I hate those posts. I hate it when people do that. But it was like 1 week, like Wednesday night, there was a big issue with an IP I was working on. And I was super excited about it because it was my first big IP project. And then the legal stuff got in the way because they'd signed another deal with somebody else. And I was 4 scripts deep. I was on the 4th issue. I'd written 4 full issues. They were all approved. Everything was ready to go. I'd seen promo art. I was so excited. And then it all imploded. And I was really bummed out, man. And then a week later, exactly a week later, I got an email from an editor that I'm friends with at Mad Cave. And it was this dream gig. And this is the weird part is this is one of those IPs that is big globally, but it became big in Canada right at the very beginning. And so as a Canadian, when this gets announced, you're going to be like, I remember watching that. And I'm beyond excited for it, man. That's as much as I can say.
I hope it's Reboot the comic book.
I can tell you it is not Reboot.
Okay.
Well,
that is legaled up like insanely. That is like locked in a gazillion different little contracts.
Well, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. And we look forward to finding out what that is. This has been a great game of deep cuts. Alex, have you sent me the outro that you... Okay, yes. So every week Alex sends me now an outro that I have to read verbatim.
You're fine.
Okay. All right. And let's do it. Okay. I'd like to thank our contestants, Fred and Fred.
I said Fred and Fred?
You said Fred and Fred. Way to go. Fred and Jessica. A big congratulations to Fred. And of course, a big thanks to my co-host, a man whose rich, velvety voice enriches this podcast as much as his friendship enriches my life, Alex Young.
Buddy. That's really cool.
Find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and anywhere you get your podcasts. I'm Jeff Penn. Thanks for listening. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.